Hi, welcome to my treatment group video for dissociative identity disorder. My name is Tristen Smith, my client is Holly Miller, and she is age 26. The only differential diagnosis we have for this case study is dissociative identity disorder, and this diagnosis has two primary diagnostic features. The first one is reoccurring gaps in memory, and the second one is identity disruption with the development of two or more alternate personalities. Moving on into Holly's story. Holly is a 26-year-old single woman who is recently hospitalized due to a suicide attempt. She has a very long history of psychiatric care and has been wrongly diagnosed many times with bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder, and borderline personality disorder. She states that she's been suffering emotionally for as long as she can remember. She's engaged in self-destructive behavior such as cutting on and off for many years. And she also states that she's tried nearly every drug there is. She's been hospitalized on at least 5 different occasions for suicide attempts. During the most recent admission to her therapist, she states that there are times when she blacks out and loses time. She describes being in one location, like her kitchen, and in the morning, and then regaining consciousness in another location, and has no recollection of how she got there. She also states that she sometimes finds herself dressed in clothes that she doesn't remember owning, or dressing in a particular style that she wouldn't usually wear. And on many occasions she would wake up around people that she doesn't know, but the people seem to know her. Holly's therapist referred her to a clinician who specialized in people who black out and lose time. And this clinician was highly skilled in hypnosis, guided Holly through hypnosis to discover that Portia was one of 3 alternate personalities that Holly has. Now, Portia was a personality that was very proper and conservative and showed a lot of mothering. It was also discovered that she had 2 others, one being Charlie, who was a tough teenage boy who emerged around when Holly was 9, and the other one being a young, innocent girl around the age of 6 years who emerged coincidentally around the age Holly was first sexually abused. The clinician also discovered that during Holly's childhood she had been physically and sexually abused from the age of 6 by her stepfather with whom she lived, and this abuse continued until she left home at the age of 18. That's all we have for Holly's story. Now, moving into the multi-axial diagnosis. On axis 1, we have dissociative identity disorder. Axis 2, we have none. Axis 3, we have numerous suicide attempts. Axis 4, we have a history of physical and sexual abuse by the stepfather. And axis 5, the GAF is 48. Now, for our theoretical perspectives, we have 3. The first one being the family perspective. Holly's abnormal behavior may be explained by the family perspective, specifically the structural approach. During Holly's upbringing, she was consistently physically and sexually abused, and these abuses and repeated boundary violations has caused Holly to develop alternate personalities that allow her to cope with the unbearable pain in different ways. The second perspective we have is the psychodynamic perspective. Holly's dissociative identity disorder may be a result from unresolved and unconscious conflicts regarding her abuse, as well as her core identity being repressed. Due to the repression of her core personality and the harmful memories of her abuse, she has developed alternate personalities that help her deal with the unresolved conflict of being physically and sexually abused. The last theoretical perspective we have is the behavioral perspective. Holly's behavior might be due to faulty learning experiences, specifically operant conditioning. The creation of her alternate personalities is operantly conditioned. Her alternate personalities are negatively reinforced because they take away the pain associated with remembering the physical and sexual abuse, thus allowing her to cope. That is all we have for this treatment group video. I hope you enjoyed.